Good evening, everybody. How are you this evening? How was your dinner? It's lovely to be with you here tonight. I wish my dad was here. He loved so many of you, and I'm privileged to be here tonight to continue the tradition of the Jack G. and Bernice Shaheen Scholarship. They've awarded over 70 scholarships to college students in media and film and television. And wanted to let you know something about my dad, Jack Shaheen, that you might not have known, that he was the very first in his family to go to college, and that his mother had wanted to be a teacher, and in order to support her family, she actually was a janitress in a school so that her children could get an education, and my father, again, was the first to go to college. So education was extremely important to him, and representation as well. And this is a very interesting time to be an American Arab in the United States when you have an administration who is, how do I put it, promoting bigotry and such, and yet you have Muslim candidates running for Congress, and it's a very fruitful time, I think, in our country. And in any case, we have 4 students who have awarded the Jack G. Shaheen Scholarship, 3 of which unfortunately could not be here tonight, but nonetheless I want to give you a little bit of insight into who they are. Ryan Hake, he's a senior at the University of Southern Mississippi, and he is going to work in the cinematic arts. And he says that honesty portraying the humanity in all people is a noble role of film and the goal to which he aspires. And we also have Louise Nasrallah, a senior at Boston College, studying cultural communication and pursuing a career as a film director. She is on the e-board of the Arab Students Association and uses that to spread positive representations of Arab Americans. We also have Farah Otera Ahmad, who is a Lebanese American going to USC. And she said in her letter, in her application letter, that as a girl, she had listed her uncle, Osama, in her emergency contact list form. And a boy said, "Who is Osama?" And she said, "Well, that's my uncle." And he said, "Well, he's a terrorist, you're a terrorist." And that was a very, very traumatic event for her, as you can imagine. And so she turned to poetry and is also now aspiring to become an international correspondent for a news organization like CNN or Al Jazeera. And I'd like to say that, you know, when I think about Arab Americans, I think we pride ourselves in education, and you think a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman, but something else is very important to our community, and that is the arts. Journalism, actors, screenwriters, filmmakers, because they're the ones who will tell our stories. And representation and inclusivity matters so much. When you see a film like Black Panther and what that did with the Black community, Wakanda Forever, and then you see Crazy Rich Asians and the tremendous success and sisterhood around that film, we need our own that we can wrap ourselves around and take such pride in. And that is what the hope of the Jack G. Shaheen Scholarship will provide for future generations. So as you open your pocketbooks to ADC tonight, I hope that you also will continue your generosity with the Jack G. Shaheen Scholarship, because he would go around the country and he would give up his speech fee and he would donate it to the foundation, and he's no longer here to do that. And we want to continue giving young students, our future, an opportunity to represent us in our community around the world. So anyway, let me introduce you to a lovely young lady who I've had the great pleasure of being with tonight. Ms. Reem Jobrani. And she is getting her master's now at UCLA. Reem went to the University of California, Berkeley. She was in Palestine the last few years, and she just recently came back to study her master's in filmmaking at UCLA. She's an extraordinary young talent. She's here with her parents tonight. And I feel that she is going to be telling our stories in her own voice through the prism of her lens, and we're all so better for it. So please welcome Reem Jobrani.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Masal khair. Excuse me reading off my phone. I wasn't planning on speaking, but here I am. I'm honored to be one of the recipients of this scholarship and very grateful. It's not easy this day and age to, survive as a student in Los Angeles. A little bit about myself. After completing my BA in film studies at UC Berkeley, I went straight to Haifa, Palestine, and I worked as an assistant director in the biggest feature films in Palestine, and I was very honored and moved by our movement there in cinema. We have a lot of strong warriors out there, and we should always support them over here in California. And I was lucky not only to work on these movies in my home country, but I was able to live there. Something that my parents and grandparents were deprived of since the Nakba, since 1948. So now I'm in my first year at UCLA in directing, and I look forward to being part of this movement, as it's much needed, in bridging the American and Palestinian industry together and representing Arab American, the Arab voice here in America, representing Palestine in the global world of cinema. We really need to change our image towards the West, which is something I appreciate Jack Shaheen for. Since I was a student at Berkeley, I maybe quoted his work 1,000 times. He's fantastic. And it's time to bring our history and our unique narrative, especially for Arab women, to the big screen. So thank you and cheers.